deal with it. So we are back with, I don't know. I don't like the Instagram facing me, right? Because I get distracted with chats. People say things, get distracted. It's not my best way of doing it. So that's why I like just doing it, seeing myself, no chats. No, I don't need to respond to questions. Send me a message later if you have a question about what I said. But it's all self-evident because first of all, it doesn't even matter what I say. Just go get these books. Go get When Things Fall Apart. Go get Smile at Fear. Go get Training Your Mind and Cultivating Love and Kindness. Go get, what's this one called? The Great Path of Awakening. Go get these books and read them for yourself. Process them for yourself. Don't just take my silly old word for it. What's happening here? Okay. So, this one is to finally tie up all the loose ends with all this abandoned hope thing. Because there are certain things in the previous, or the last one, I had to cut short because I had to go somewhere. But there are some things I wanted to get to, and I didn't finish talking about what we were reading from these wonderful books, which were Training the Mind, Cultivating Love and Kindness, Chogyam Trungpa, and Great Path of Awakening by Jamgon Kongtrul. So, hope. Tell me about it, right? You abandon it, then you don't. Go figure, right? So we're going to get to a few things. And because I still haven't really talked about society and how society plays a role in being a hope drug dealer towards all of us. I've sort of got into that, but I had mentioned kind of some other things about it that I wanted to bring up. So how did I get a cut on my hands? That's always the funniest thing. I mean, it's not a big cut, but I don't remember scraping my hand on anything. That's always weird where you're like, I'm bleeding? Like, when did this happen? Body? Whatever. So let's just refresh and read the Lojong slogans and we'll go from there, right? I'm not going to reiterate anything, not that I remember exactly what I said in the previous videos, but we're just going to go through, and these are short slogans, so, we don't just spend all day on them, but we can just go through them, and then I can get to my other points. We can cap this whole thing off, and I never have to do another video ever about abandoning hope. That's done. It's buried. We went there. We got the t-shirt. We framed it in our man cave or woman cave, and we have a certificate of authenticity. So we don't need to talk about abandoning hope. If you saw these videos and you still don't understand about abandoning hope, I've abandoned all my hope that you can understand abandoning hope. That's how I feel, okay? Because again, read these books. Get When Things Fall Apart. Get these books I'm mentioning. Read it for yourself, because you'll not even probably, I was going to say probably, you will understand it better than me giving my insight on them, right? I'm just trying to spark something in you to go research these things. But it's not up to me to convince you to, you have to be the one who leads to your own insights, right? I'm just like, I'm a sign along the way on the highway, like, oh, turn left here. There's a Jimmy Dean's, I don't think they have stores, but, it's like, oh, insights? Oh, try going left ahead, 4 miles. That's my role, okay? But you can't take my word for it. You got to read the books. You got to read and then do your own experiments, do your own reflections, gain your own insights based on anything you consume, really, but in this case, this particular information. Okay? So now that that's out of the way, let's continue. All right, so Great Path of Awakening was like the original text for Lojong slogans, like in the 1800s. Not the original one, but one of the groundbreaking ones, to use lack of a better term. So I'm going to start with this, though, and then we'll read. I think I started reading the Chogyam one, and then I didn't finish because I ran out of time. So, but I'm just going to read them again. They're very short, and this one builds on top of what Chogyam says. And so how these slogans work is there's the slogan, right, which is, in this case, give up all hope for results. But then there's the commentary that the teacher gives about this slogan, right? So the slogan is give up all hope for results. And here is the commentary from Jamgon Control. Jamgon? Jamgon? I say Jamgon. It sounds so American, so English. Jamgon. Hey, Jamgon! It's probably Jamgon. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I should look into that, or not. Okay. Anyways, give up on the hope of subduing gods and demons by meditating on mind training, or the hope that you will be considered a good person when you try to help someone who has hurt you. These are hypocritical attitudes. In a word, give up all hope for any results that concerns your own welfare, such as desire for fame, respect, happiness, and comfort in this life. The happiness experienced in the human god realms in future lives, or the attainment of nirvana for yourself. Yeah, just, give all that up, folks. Give it up. Okay, so that was old JK. Old Jamie Gone. Now, let's read. Is this? No, I'm on the wrong page. This is what Chogyam says. And he labels this same slogan, number 28, abandon any hope of fruition. So slightly different wording. Okay, so this slogan means that you should give up any possibilities of becoming the greatest person in the world by means of your training. In particular, you may quite impatiently expect that because of Lojong practice, you will become a better person. You may be hoping that you will be invited to more little clubs and gatherings by your protégés or friends who are impressed with you. The point is that you have to give up any such possibility, otherwise you could become an egomaniac. In other words, it is too early for you to collect disciples. Working with the slogans does not mean looking for temporary revelation or trying to achieve something by doing little smart things that have managed to quell people's problems in the past. You may have become a great speaker by giving one talk, or a great psychologist who has managed to conquer other people's neurosis, or a great literary figure who has written several books, or a famous musician who has produced several albums. Such things are somewhat based on Such things are somewhat based on relating with reality properly, being connected with reality. But you want to subjugate the world in your own particular style, however subtle and sneaking that may be. By doing the same kind of trick, you hope to attain enlightenment. You have tuned into a professional approach and become a professional achiever. So there is the possibility that you might approach practice in the same way, thinking that you can actually con the Buddha mind within yourself and sneakily attain enlightenment. That seems to be the problem referred to in this particular slogan. It says in the commentary that any pursuit of life's happiness, joy, fame, or wisdom, or the hope of attaining some state of glorious liberation in the life hereafter could be regarded as a problem. So, this is the issue we're in. And I used last time the example of, if there's an old woman crossing the street and, you go to help her, but then another scenario, that same thing, you go to help her, but there's some woman you know from work or whatever who you want to impress, so that's why you do it. This is the issue with our ego mind, is that just if we're not aware of our particular style of being sneaky, as Chogyam puts it, we will find all sorts of ways to turn around the most noble, beneficial, compassionate, empathetic, kind actions, at least on the exterior, to serve our own ego. So, related to that is, related to that is, if I do these good deeds, I'll make it to nirvana. Nirvana. I couldn't think of a Nirvana lyric. The timing's lost, but yeah, I was gonna bust into a Nirvana song. So yeah, the hope kind of. Oh man, it just. We're in a society, in a world, in a matrix situation that is just always pumping us with hope, right? If you are doing an entrance exam for an electrician's program, to use an example, you're interested in being an electrician, right? That's why you're doing the entrance exam. You want to pass the thing and get in, right? So there's going to be a hope attached to that. It kind of comes about naturally. The issue is that the hope, it's not real. None of this is real, but it's also real at the same time. Try that on for size. None of this is real. So when we're in the past and the future, thinking about, in 5th grade, when I fell down in the sandbox and everyone laughed at me, I was such a jack face, right? Ghost doesn't exist. Didn't exist when it happened, definitely doesn't exist now. Future, I hope to go on a 10-day all-inclusive vacation to Thailand. That's my plan for my birthday. Because I found a site, Uplift, where you can pay monthly. Because it's like, this shit's like $2,700. And, I just got that laying around for vacations. So, paying monthly. And, if I go on my birthday in August, that's mad months to pay. So, that's what I'm planning to do. That's what I'm hoping to do, right? If for some reason that doesn't happen, I'll be disappointed because now my mind is sort of set on, I could do this. I've just had to pay this much. I've got the vacation days, right? All the things are there for me to do it, right? And also the hope is there. So we kind of create these problems ourselves. It just kind of, we're taught to have hope. I hope the tooth fairy comes. Did Santa come? I hope Santa brings me the fucking blah, 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 right? We're instilled into this behavior of hoping and wishing and dreaming, right? And tying our whole mind and emotional bodies to this future outcome. That's going to happen, or that will happen. I hope that happens. If it doesn't happen, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you really feel when that shit doesn't happen? Probably feel like shit. Probably feel like, you could go, think about the aftermath when hope is shattered, right? And you're in a disappointing phase, right? You could go many different ways. Well, I guess I wasn't, I guess Santa didn't want to give me the blah, blah, blah action figure. I'm a piece of shit, I guess, I guess that's why I didn't get that. Or it's like, no one will ever love me. I'll never get a great job, right? Start this insecurity cycle, start this shame cycle, start this I knew it, I don't get good things cycle. Whatever your cycle is, that can start up again, right? Off of this disappointment after the fear is shattered. The good thing about disappointment, though, folks, I got good news. Disappointment is reality, okay? Disappointment is actual reality. I once heard it put like this. Disappointment is the thorny, truthy bed of reality. It's what it is, right? It's not like, we hope to do this, and in the 4th quarter, we plan to have our profits at $1 million, right? Then gets to the 4th quarter, what were the profits? $100,000. Hope, right? But that's the actual reality. So as much as the CEO and all those motherfuckers would be disappointed that they did not hit their 4th quarter target profits, at least they're in the reality zone. At least they're in the truth zone. They know where they're at. It would be worse if someone fudged the numbers and it's like, we did get the thing. Obviously that creates a whole other fraud issue, but it's better that they know that they only made $100,000 and that you're like, what happens? Why didn't we get to $1 million? Was it our overhead? Was it this? Was it that? They can deal with reality a lot better than if they were living in the delusional hope of this $1 million profit or this love affair or this relationship or this job that we want or, whatever the case may be. The benefit of when our hope is shattered, when that hope balloon pops and when you come crashing down to earth, is we come back to what is actually happening. We come back to the present moment. So as much as it can be very painful, very sad, very obviously disappointing, and a whole bunch of other feelings depending on who you are and how you show up in terms of relating to the world, at least it's the truth, right? We don't operate in truth too often. People think they do. People really think they do. That's why it's funny. People really think they live their life truthfully, but they really don't, right? Or if they, or not, I'm not saying people don't like 100% live their life a lie. They'll mix in some lies with some truth, right? That's what the best con artists do, politicians, is they don't tell a complete lie. You mix in some truth, then you sprinkle in some lie, then you sprinkle a little bit more truth then some deception. Oh, then a little, another dash of truth, right? So that if someone hears it, it's like they can't be like, that's all bullshit, right? Because there's truth in there. Kind of creates a cognitive dissonance in people's minds, and that's why it's effective, right? Because you don't want anything people can outright reject, but you want them to accept it, so you put some little truth in there. You sprinkle a little lie. Hey, you have a nice truth lie casserole. You put 350 in the oven. Oh, beautiful. Love it. So, yeah, it's just, but the thing I would say about people is that, honestly, people haven't done deep enough work on themselves to even know when they're lying to themselves, to even know when they're being truthful about themselves. That's the issue, right? Because I understand, I'm compassionate, but I'm just calling what it is. Y'all are too distracted out there. Too fucking distracted, right? This is bigger than Netflix and Instagram. You're distracted in your own mind. Your mind just runs you. Your mind just, hey, you, this is what we're doing today. It's like, okay, mind. All right. Okay, ego mind. All right, this is what we're doing today. All right, I'll do that. And listen, I still deal with that too, but I'm aware of when it comes about. And a lot of people aren't aware when they're going from Buddha mind to ego mind. I'm pretty clear when I'm doing one or the other. When I'm in ego mind mode and I'm just seeking pleasure for myself and I'm just seeking comfort for myself and, any sort of thing. I know when it usually comes about. I know kind of the form it kind of takes. I know kind of like what it smells like. I got a good sense for myself when I'm in ego mind mode, right? But again, there's never been a mainstream, not that that's always the the standard, or shouldn't be. There's not a mainstream push for people just ironing their own mind. It's just a whole bunch of wrinkled clothes in there that have never been ironed. Maybe once they were ironed on a Tuesday in 1993. That was the one ironing. And now it's just crumpled clothes in your mind, on the floor, in the closet, on your bed, on your chairs, and just all piling up. And you think it's going to get better? No, because your mind's like laundry. It's not, they're not going to stay clean and ironed and pressed and on hangers all the time. You got to routinely get in there and like, okay, I got to do laundry later. It's like, all right. Laundry is the most important thing that I would say most people don't like to do. I mean, I love clean clothes. So it's like the outcome I'm all for, but the process, no. And it's like the same thing with dealing with your mind. Shit's going to get dirty. Shit's going to get wrinkled. And you have to have something you do. Meditation. Meditation. Did I say meditation? Yeah, meditation. That you do. Meditation. That can help deal with these wrinkles. Can help deal with the dirt and the filth that is in your mind that you've tracked in there. Don't even blame other people. You let yourself track in all that dirt and wrinkle all those clothes in your mind. That was you. That was all you. Don't blame other people. Nope. That was you. Okay? That was you. So, you gotta have something to deal with that. And, this is why whenever, I'm just curious what people do, like with their minds. I'm really curious. Like the greatest thing that could have ever happened to my life was to get into Buddhism, because that shit is all about the signs of your mind and just getting in there like it's a basement that needs to be organized and cleaned and things need to be donated. It's like, yo, what's going on down here? Get the flashlights. Get the gloves. We're going in. Put on a mask if you need to. Yeah, it's just yeah, you gotta do that deep work on yourself. Shadow work is it called. Which that sort of stuff is permeating the mainstream now. It's very popular, obviously, doing things like ayahuasca and related deep psychedelics, plant teachers are popular now, right? But that's a one-off thing. You gotta clean your clothes and iron them in your minds like daily. Not that you actually have to do it daily, but you have to recognize what's going on in there. And it doesn't mean every day you wash your clothes, right? Like you don't wash your clothes every day, but you're aware of like, okay, I probably should do laundry pretty soon. Kind of different meditation. Meditation's a daily thing as far as I'm concerned, but just bear with me with this metaphor, analogy, whatever the fuck, okay? So you got to understand when it's like, yeah, your laundry's piling up, and how you deal with that in your life. So I feel just that in this sort of realm, that just creates a difficulty because, people have been trained how to work with their minds. Like, who growing up, I'll wait, was sat down by their parents, a teacher, and this was the conversation. Hey, Susie. Hey, Jerome. Here's how you work with your mind. Your mind? Let's talk about consciousness for a second. So consciousness, many philosophers, no, that's not, unless you're raised as a monk in a mystery school, or you just had some parents or people around you that were on that tip and they knew it would be positive to instill that in this child that's before them, right? But most people weren't around monks, didn't have parents who were, deep into meditation, XYZ. So it's not a common thing, at least in the West, where people kind of receive mind training tutelage. It's a shame, but hey, this is Malkuth, people. This is Malkuth. And that means people like me got to step up to share this message, And I'm happy to do it. And, part of the Bodhisattva path. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to share shit that's worked for me, shit that can help you. And, we'll leave it at that. And then you go off and research these books, read about these books, sit, meditate, reflect on these things said in the video, reflect on the things said in these books, and make up your own damn mind, okay? So, so getting to the society point of this. So, I've been teasing this. I mean, I've mentioned it or talked more about it, but I've been teasing this about society and being a hope drug dealer, okay? And there's one part of that I didn't necessarily mention yet that I'm going to talk about right now. So, like I was mentioning about Obama and his whole thing was hope and that sort of thing. And I asked people, like, how is your, be honest, since that whole campaign, since the whole hope thing when Obama came into the office, how has your life drastically improved? Because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you yourself lost 50 pounds because you started walking every day, well, then you did that, right? But I'm talking about from the government, from that campaign, from all the hope, from all the good feelings that were spread during that time. How has your life improved because of that? It's a rhetorical question because I'm not looking at any responses right now, or comments or anything like that, but really think about that because I guarantee it hasn't really changed. And here's the point, because here's where it gets tricky, right? You can't keep feeding someone the same shitty meal. They'll reject it at some point. So if you feed them a shitty meal for this long, then you shift over and it's like, oh, now with croutons. It's like, oh, what? They got croutons now? But the same shitty meal. Or it's like a different shitty meal, right? But it's like, oh, it was a shitty hamburgers. Oh, now it's shitty penne pasta. Oh, wow. Oh, and there's garlic bread too, right? And this is the trick that the Malkuth Society Matrix does. It's always shifting the bullshit. So you can't, just like the mixing the truth with the lie kind of psychological fuckery, you shift over the fuckery, right? So maybe 10 years ago, this is the fuckery, right? And black people are like, outraged. Oh, we're down fuckery, right? Then it's like, after a while, politicians are like, okay, we'll take care of the fuckery, right? And they take care of the fuckery. And people are like, oh my God, great, the fuckery is taken care of. What happens? Oh, there's new fuckery, right? And this cycle will keep going until it doesn't go like that anymore, folks. Okay? This is the scam, right? So you can't be like, oh, things haven't changed, right? Oh, this got better, but overall, there's still fuckery, right? Until I'm seeing a Garden of Eden in there, I'm just going to assume that Malkuth is going to do what Malkuth does, which is all about the 5 senses, all about physical pleasure, all about comfort, all about other things people do in Malkuth. Lower self emotions, hope, fear. Those are kind of like the basics of Malkuth. Malkuth 101. So, until further notice, I'm going to see Malkuth for what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat my perception of Malkuth. I understand what it is. I'm looking at it. Now, my reality, my awareness is expanded beyond Malkuth, right? So even if I'm seeing Malkuth as like, it's this, right? Or it's kind of like, these are the constraints of Malkuth. This is how Malkuth operates. This is their favorite poem, right? It doesn't mean my consciousness needs to be aligned with what Malkuth is. For example, I know what a Cocker Spaniel is, but I don't want that as my dog. I want a Husky, even though they're insane. They're insane brat dogs. Insane. But something about them speaks to my heart, and I don't understand it. I know what a Cocker Spaniel is, but that's not the dog I want to align with myself for my dog ownership-ness, So, I could, it's like, the phrase being in something, but not of something. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you need to do while you're in this earthly existence. Be in it, but not of it. A lot of y'all niggas is of it, highly of it. And I get it. I wasn't always like this. I was way more of it, Just like I was saying, like, oh, what parents sat you down and, taught you about meditation and using your mind. What, I kind of look at me doing videos and podcasts as spiritual food, and for many people, many people, they haven't even been offered a decent spiritual meal or spiritual dish or spiritual appetizer. Not even a meal. Just can we get a nutritious spiritual app for people's spirits and people's minds and hearts? God damn. There's not many offerings. Now, in the advent of technology and social media, more of those spiritual meals are getting out there. But, again, a lot of it can be still tinged with ego, can be tinged with me. Look at me. Look at this, right? And I guarantee you that is not what I'm doing. I don't want to do videos, right? I'm not like, hey, everybody, check out my makeup tutorial, right? Like, I don't necessarily want to do videos, right? That's how I know it's a pure endeavor for me, because I don't want to be sitting here. I mean, I do want to be sitting here, right? Because I want to get this knowledge out. But frankly, I'd rather have a conversation or in person with this than do a video is the point I'm making. But, how often, at some point I'd love to be on tour talking about this, like, yeah, abandon all hope. Yeah, we're out here, abandon all hope. You say abandon, that'd be great. Call and response with abandon all hope on tour at the Civic Center. The Civic Center. They rebuild the Civic Center just for this tour. yeah, that would be great. But in the interim, until then, what am I going to wait to oh yeah, I'll get to talking about abandoning all hope when they rebuild the Civic Center? No, I got to do it now. And so as much as I'm a technology head and I like all this shit and having the shit on the screen and scrolling and all that sort of fun stuff, I don't want to be doing videos. It'd be great if people already knew some of this shit, but that's not the case. And I know some of this shit, so I feel it's my duty to share. There's something about surrendering to your duty. And for many years, in terms of doing videos like this, I didn't want to surrender to my duty. I would lightly surrender to my duty, once every other month. Oh yeah, I surrendered my duty last month. I'm good for another 2 months. That was just laziness. Now I recognize I need to be surrendering to my duty, which is putting spiritual meals out there, or offering spiritual meals to the world. And if you come through and you want to consume and nosh on it, fantastic. If not, fantastic. I'll still be here. So I don't know where I was going with all that spiritual meals. I guess I was just saying that people haven't been offered nutritious spiritual food that actually isn't reinforcing their ego. 1, isn't reinforcing their ego. 2, it's for the purpose of expanding their consciousness and their minds and their heart. And 3, it doesn't it doesn't placate their ego, which is very important. I'm not going to be hey, beloveds, hey, goddesses, hey, gods. No, fuck all that shit, because they're just words. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. That's why, ladies, gentlemen, but ladies, just honestly, I'm not saying completely disregard what men say, but really take it with a grain of salt until you really get to know them. Because dudes will say anything, and words are already hollow, but if a dude is trying to sleep with you, they're lots of times extra, extra hollow. You know what I'm saying? So this is just a general rule for people. It's the idea, actions speak louder than words. You can say words are silent, right? It's like what I was saying about hope. Hope is sexy but toxic. Words are silent but deadly, because words can never truly really describe the kind of otherworldliness of our experience. They can kind of get us in the vicinity, in the neighborhood, maybe in the county, in the states, depending on the words and who's saying them. But to say, if you have a really profound experience, usually the marking of it being a profound experience is if you can explain it to someone, or if you can describe it to someone. That's how I always know when I'll be yeah, this happened, and I'm I can't really explain it, because it's just an internal experience. And honestly, lots of times it's not meant to be explained. It's just for you to interpret, for you to understand, gain insight from. It's not for other people. There's nothing that says if you have a profound experience, you got to share it with people. No, because you could say that waters it down. You trying to bumble around and say the words about no, just savor your profound experience and go from there. You don't need to share these things with people. So yeah, just the spiritual food is not always out there, and sometimes when it is, it's oh, that dish looks healthy, but it's filled with MSG. So you got to be really careful what you consume, especially in the spiritual sort of love and light new agey thing. Because I got news for you folks. I got news for you. That's a lot of ego too, okay? And I know I was there once. Oh, love and light. It's not balanced, folks. It's not balanced. You know what I'm saying? And what are we getting out of that? To be nicer to people, to be kind to people? Okay. Should know that anyway. You don't need a whole movement to figure that out. But spiritual bypassing can occasionally happen with New Agers and people in the New Age movement. Because it's are you going into the basement and just getting in there, getting cobwebs in your hair, getting dirt all over your shirt, dealing with your mind? Because if you're not doing that, you're not doing fucking enough, okay? Because I don't know who you are, right, watching this video, at what point in time, but I know you got shit in your basement because we all do. We all got shit down there from childhood, from teenagehood, from adulthood, and counting, okay? And so all the shit from childhood, just start there. We're not even talking about adulthood, right? And issues that could get buried in the basement there. Childhood, right? And you could have had a good childhood. You know, it doesn't mean it's like not everybody was abused and you know, traumatized, you know, severely when they were children. But we all had disappointments when we were a child. We all had sadness and pain when we were a child for various reasons. And we need to deal with that because that's not going to go away. And our, you know, it's like that book I still got to read. The body always keeps score or never forgets the score or something like that. Because, yeah, until you deal with that, body's still got a tally on all those traumas. It's just adding to the tally. Oh, we got another one today, Frank. Oh, add it to the trauma tally in the body. You got to deal with that. You got to get in the basement, folks. You got to go down there. I know it's scary, but you know what's scarier? Not dealing with it and doing something wild. And again, let's go back to the T-Witch. Is it T-Witch or is it Twitch? I actually don't know. Just learned about the brother off of what happened recently. And I'm speculating, so I don't have any inside information. But I was kind of thinking about like this. Maybe, you know, when he was growing up, I may have said this in a previous video. Maybe he was growing up, had some darkness, had some demons for whatever reason, right? You know, they bothered him. They caused him sadness, pain, all these sorts of things. Got older, got into dancing, loved dancing. Felt called to do it, kept doing it, getting more successful. People tell him like, oh, that's great, keep doing that, right? Keeps going, becomes successful, well-known, Ellen Show, all a thing, married, beautiful family, etc., etc. The darkness didn't go anywhere. The pain didn't go anywhere. The shadow didn't go anywhere. It's still there. It's still buried. And in reading more about this story, apparently his wife went to the police station like Sunday morning of the day he died and said like, hey, I mean, she was frantic. She wasn't like, hey, what's up? You know, like he just left like without his car and he wasn't being himself. And that's what stood out to me. Like he wasn't acting like himself. Right. And what is acting like yourself? You know, and this is the thing where it's like you got to study your own mind. So you can always understand how, if you're not acting like yourself, how that can come about, why it comes about, when it comes about, what triggers it, what brings it out of you, right? Like if there's certain things that get you angry, you need to know that about yourself and really dive into, well, why does blue pants really make you mad? I don't mean like blue jeans, I mean like blue slacks. First of all, who has blue slacks? Weirdos. But yeah, understanding like why do blue slacks make me so angry and foaming at the mouth? You got to understand these things. That's why you got to get in the basement. Any extreme reaction you have, even if it's not external, your extreme reaction, I'll just flicking everybody off. Is that fuck you in like sign language, right? Even if, yeah, you don't have any external reaction. Like, because lots of times I don't have extreme external reaction, but internally I do, and I'm aware of it, right? Where someone will do something and I'll be like, oh my fucking God. And I feel like that's lots of people, but a lot of people look at me and think I'm very laid back and like not uptight and anxious. But let me tell y'all, I can get very uptight and anxious in my mind, and I'm aware of it. I'm aware of when it really comes about, right? When I'm like, why aren't you doing it like this, right? Shit like that. Where if I'm in, what's a good example? I don't know. I can't think of a good example. I don't think anything I can remember happened today related to this, but I know this about myself. And I generally know the situations that bring it out of me where I get very uptight in my mind. And, essentially my mind will go from expansive, open to like limitations, right? It needs to be like this. Bitch, why are you doing it like that? You're an idiot, right? Whatever the case may be. I'm aware of when these things come up, right? Sometimes I'm surprised. I'm like, oh, that aggravated me. Didn't see that coming. but generally I kind of know the situations that aggravate me and kind of make me really annoyed and frustrated, if not other things. So you got to understand these things. And this seems like it's not related to abandoning hope, but it is still connected because I don't know how it's connected actually. You just got to get in there, folks. You just got to get in there. You just got to get in there down in the basement because it gets less scary the less time you're down there. Also, you're less surprised by the things that are there. You're less surprised by the things that come up. Maybe they're things you've forgotten. And that happens a lot. All the time now when I meditate, there's just things that pop up that I've completely forgotten about. Some random, some sad, some, cool, just all nature of things that just kind of come up to the surface as you go further into the basement of your mind. And, maybe they're there for a reason. Maybe they're there as my ego mind's attempting to distract me while I'm in meditation with let's send him this cool sexy memory when he met this girl in Spain. Oh, yeah. Ooh, he'll love that. Then he'll get distracted. But at the end of the day, just being aware of that they're there, and just kind of taking them for what they are. So I've run out of steam, and I think I've gotten to everything I wanted to say. Let me see my list. Oh, okay. There was one last thing I was going to say about the society shifting thing. Okay, so obviously black people being killed by police, right? That hasn't shifted, right? And as technology has progressed, we only know more and more about these incidents and shootings versus when, just kind of like the news on TV and that's it in newspapers, But now, you can see a clip of someone getting shot in the fucking chest, immediately after it happens. So I use this example, and this is my closing thing, where the shifting the society does with the hope is, for example, if tomorrow they figure it out. They figure it out. Listen, America, we know while we were killing so many of y'all, we figured it out. All the police stations are on board. We know what to do, right? We fired all these people. We retrained them, right? We fucking sucked their dicks, right? We're all good now, right? And it legitimately changes. No more shooting of black people. Yay! Fantastic. Great. But then you know what happens? Dragon bees are killing black people. It's like, yeah, dragon bees. Bees that are shaped like dragons. They're small, but they're dragon shaped. And they're only going after black people. Now, is it better than killed like a cop? Sure. Do people still want to get killed by a dragon bee? No, because you're still dying. And also, it's more painful than being shot by police, and more humiliating because you wet your pants when you get killed by a dragon bee. So not only do you die by the hand of a dragon bee, you have a piss stain on your pants when they come, the coroner and all the medical examiner are like, this guy pissed himself. Oh, what a loser. So, yeah, so dragon bees. So it would just shift to something else. It would just shift to some other fucked up shit. Okay, and this is not me being a pessimist. Just like me saying, I don't know what I was saying before that was optimistic, but it's just me being realistic about Malkuth, about the Matrix, about society. As much as people want to talk so much shit about society being the Matrix and all this sort of shit, y'all really don't take that to heart. Y'all still out here acting like society is like, oh yeah, society, yeah, thumbs up. I just always think of Atlanta. My favorite episode, which is the one with the barber, when he goes, like, he's bringing them all around, and like he goes, he finds his son. The barber finds his son like skipping school, and Alfred's like by the car while he's talking to him, and he's like, "Paperboy, come talk to him or something," and like you just see him give cool. Like two sarcastic thumbs up. It's just always very funny to me. So yeah, it is what it is, folks. It'll always shift, and Malkuth what it is. You just need to be honest about Malkuth being what it is. And it's a hope drug dealer, right? And we're addicted to hope. And it's a fear drug dealer and traumatizer. And the trauma leads to the fear addiction, right? That's how trauma generally works. It's like you're traumatized, you're more likely to do drugs, like fear, no, like hope. So I bid y'all adieu, mon chers and mon cheries. I put something out there earlier. No, I'm not gonna share this. Never mind. But it was about mon cherie. And like apparently I used the phrase that you use. I was talking like it was like on a dating thing. I was like obviously talking to women, so I used mon cher, and someone was like, just I want to let you know that it should be mon cherie. And if you say mon cher, it's like that's usually for guys. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Which I appreciate the comment, but I was like, dude, okay. All right, we're out here. Instagram. I don't know how many of y'all showed up, but sorry for being so hard on you. It's just I get so worked up with occult science and abandoning hope. Whew, I don't know. I just lose it. So have a wonderful weekend, y'all. And later, I'm going to put out a full action-packed quadrillion of all 4 of these videos so you can watch them in one sitting. I know you're like highly anticipating that, and I can tell I can see all y'all actually through the computer, and yeah, I can tell you're like, oh man, I would watch these videos if they're all put together in one long video. I get it. So I got you. I'm gonna do that later, but yeah, keep abandoning hope, but just do shit. That's the trick. Like, I always seen that in Buddhist texts and that sort of thing. Maybe not, I didn't say it as flowery as they do, but just like, oh yeah, no thinking, just be in your Buddha mind and just act, right? And many years ago, when I first started reading these things, I'm like, oh, whoa, oh man, I hope to understand this like one day. Like, oh, okay, ooh, that's probably really deep. It's actually not really deep. It's actually really simple. They literally mean that. Stop thinking and just act. Don't be in the past. Don't be in the future. What is in front of you right now? What are you doing right now? Focus on that. Return to the breath of the present moment. Act. Act and respond. Respond when something happens. Don't respond just to something that's going to happen in 10 days. No, respond when it's time to respond. Act when it's time to act. And don't overthink. I get it. We're in the Matrix. We're in Malkuth. We're in society. There's situations where we need to think, right? If I'm setting up this video, I got to have the camera the right way. I don't necessarily need to have the camera right, but I'd like to have it the right way, have a nice background. Is the microphone working? Is this on? Is the lens clean, right? Is the key for the streaming right? Right? There's certain thinking tasks that I have to do. But at the same time, I don't need to overthink this whole process. Okay, I just need to do what I need to do, bare minimum thinking, and then go. And this is me going, right? I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. I know the general theme of what I'm saying, but I didn't plan out, okay, and then for sentence 4, I'm going to say this. No, I'm just going. This is a topic I think and reflect about a lot, especially a lot of the past couple of weeks. So I don't need to script this out. I could just talk and it'll flow out, and anything that'll come up, I'll say, and we'll go from there. So yeah, just get into that basement of your mind, folks. Get into that heart too. Don't ever forget it, and just abandon your hope also while you're down there. Okay, bye, toodles.